So I'm a proud swim parent. For many years, my many daughters swam competitively, and I learned to love the smell of chlorine and early morning swim practices and long swim meets in hot pools. It was an incredible experience. I have a couple daughters now that swim in the NCAA in the United States. And all of our daughters were great swimmers because they were in a swim club at a very young age. What was interesting, a number of years ago, we went to this lake and we all walked out to the edge of the dock. And I proceeded to just leap into the water. And the lake water was particularly dark. And as I submerged or came back up and turned around, I saw that all of my daughters were staring tentatively at the water. None of them had jumped in because they're not used to swimming in a body of water where they can't see the bottom. It was not clear for them, and they were fearful of what was lurking beneath. They were fearful of the unknown. Well, I thought that's a perfect analogy for many of us. When we're starting something new, there is always potentially a fear of the unknown because you can't see clearly what the next step is. For many of you that are interested in starting a business from home or becoming a freelancer, you may have a fair amount of uncertainty. You may be like my daughters that are standing on the edge of the dock tentatively and hesitant to jump in because you just don't know what's next. Well, in this video, I'd like to share a 5-step plan for you to start a profitable freelance business in 2025 that will help make things a whole lot clearer for you. So step number 1 is to clarify your vision for work. Where do you picture yourself in the next year or the next 3 years or the next 5 years? You see, when you have a vision is a picture of the future that produces passion. So as you look at 2025 and you look at December 31st of this coming year, what does it look like for you? Where do you see yourself? How many hours are you going to be working? What type of clients will you be working with? What will your schedule be like? Where in the world will you be working? Because the beauty of freelancing is you can be a digital nomad and work wherever you want. But what does that picture look like for you? So the exercise here is to write down 2 to 3 professional goals that you would like to accomplish in 2025 so that you can fulfill whatever vision you have over this next year. There's this expression that without vision, people will perish. Well, without vision, plans will never come to fruition because we really don't know where we're going. So step number 1 begins with clarifying your vision. Step number 2 is to assess your strengths and your passions. So this is Strength Finder time. This is where you want to identify what are the skills that I am really accomplished in, that I have cultivated great experience in. What would people say that I'm really, really skilled at? All right. And then on the other side, you want to say, well, what am I interested in at this point in my life? What am I passionate about? Maybe you need to take some career assessment tools so that you can kind of figure out what the next step looks like for you. You know, a tool like 16personalities.com where you kind of do a MBTI light and it gives you some ideas on what you might be good at. But the key here is to take your strengths and your abilities and take your interests and pair them together and find an ideal career that you could be really good at and experienced at, but also it would fuel your passion. That's when you found your sweet spot. So the exercise here is to identify at least 3 skills that you're really strong at, and then to think about 1 or 2 things that you might be interested in doing. 1 or 2 types of freelance careers that might pique your interest. Step number 3 is to define your lane. And we're talking specifically about freelancing here. So what freelance niche would interest you? You know, do you want to produce podcasts, manage people's social media accounts, write great content, be a virtual assistant? And in fact, in the description below, we have this great guide, which is the top 25 freelance careers for 2025. Definitely go below this video after, download it, and I encourage you to pick 2 or 3 of the careers that are listed and research them more, ones that might pique your interest that you could actually see yourself doing. So it's important to be able to define your lane. Once you know where you're going and once you have a clear idea of your niche, it's much easier to market your services. The fourth step is to build your online presence. So you may begin by setting up your LinkedIn profile or improving your LinkedIn profile and positioning it for the specific niche or specific services that you're going to offer. You may be interested in setting up a simple website using a platform like Wix, Wix.com. In fact, at the university, I just taught a course on how to set up your website in less than 10 hours. So the action exercise here is to check out Wix.com. It's Wix.com. Look at some of the templates that might interest you for creating a really awesome website. The fifth and final step is to recruit your first client. And one of the best ways to do that is to tap into your circles of influence, into your own network. So the action exercise for this one is to write down as many names of people in your network. It could be former clients, former colleagues, employers, family, friends, neighbors, people that might be even connectors, where they just happen to know a lot of other people. And once you've built that list, you're then going to want to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm launching this freelance service in this particular area, and I was wondering if you would know of anybody that might benefit from my services. And you'll be amazed at what type of client opportunities might emerge. So the action exercise here is to build a list of about 25 names of people that you could reach out to and share your new freelance services with. All right, so 5 steps to bring clarity for the direction of your business in 2025. Let me recap. The first step is to clarify your vision. Get clear on where you're going. And then step 2 is to assess your strengths and your passions so you know what you're good at and you know what you're passionate about. Step 3 is to define your lane and figure out the specific freelance niche that you want to pursue. There's this expression that is, the riches are in the niches. So when you specialize and you focus in a particular area, it can also be really profitable as well. And then step 4 is to build your online presence. Start by maybe setting up your LinkedIn profile or creating a simple website on a platform like Wix.com. And then the final step is to find your first client, which starts with tapping into your existing network and letting them know that you're open for business. I encourage you to go below this video, download your free guide, which is the top 25 freelance careers for 2025, and I'll see you in another video soon.